Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything, from classic sports debates, NBA news and other things, and we give you a fresh perspective on sports and how we see it. And in today's episode, the topic is the shocking reason the Toronto Raptors were better off without DeMar DeRozan. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content, and be sure to check out this show on the Dreamerspro Podcast, which we have it linked in the description below, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. If you guys enjoy listening to your content rather than watching it, that is there for you guys. So with that being said, let me just get straight into this topic, because I think this topic is gonna, ruffle some feathers and is gonna piss off some Toronto Raptors fans. I don't know this, but at least that's what I think. So let me just go ahead and get into this topic here. So all of you guys know who DeMar DeRozan is. He's, at least by the numbers, he's the most successful Toronto Raptor in the history of that organization. I think he played with them for his entire career. If I look at his career accomplishments, I think he played with the team. I believe he played with them for about 9 years or so until he was traded to he played with them about 9 years until he was traded to the San Antonio Spurs. He's a 4-time All-Star. He accomplished, I believe, all of that or most of that with the Toronto Raptors. He was a 2-time All-NBA player, and he was a pretty decent player as far as, not pretty decent, he was a pretty good player. He was an all-star when he was playing with the team. He averaged over 20 points at least 6 times in a row when he was playing with the team. At one point in the 2016-2017 season, he averaged 27.3 points a game, so he was pretty good. He got you 5.2 rebounds that season, 3.9 assists, and 1.1 steals. And he was a pretty great player. He's known to be a pretty good mid-range player. However, he's not a good three-point shooter. Most of the time of his career, he averaged really, really low numbers as a three-point shooter. In the 2018-2019 season, he averaged about 16% from the three. 16% from the three, but that's just because he didn't attempt any three-pointers. Now, that's what we know about DeMar DeRozan. Another thing is, we know that he was, very good friends with Kyle Lowry, who's also another staple with that organization, who's been there, I think, for his entire career, or for most of his career, because I think he played in Houston early on in his career. But he's been with that organization for a very long time, and him and DeMar DeRozan are really great friends. We all know this, right? They've said it, and we all know this. Now, about a year ago, DeMar DeRozan was traded away from the Toronto Raptors for Kawhi Leonard for 1 year. And some people were not happy about it. DeMar DeRozan was certainly not pleased with that decision, and Kyle Lowry was not pleased with that decision. But the president of the organization, Masai Ujiri, decided, hey, listen, this has not been working. We had this guy for all of these years, and this guy just cannot seem to get us over the hump. And over the hump, meaning in this case, playing against LeBron, or just not delivering for the team, and they were never able to make it to the NBA Finals coming out of the East, although they've had great regular season records. Now, he decided to trade for Kawhi, and we all know that Kawhi Leonard and DeMar DeRozan, you can't even compare the two. They're just levels to this guy, as you guys know this. I don't even need to explain the numbers. But for some of you guys who may say, well, DeMar DeRozan is pretty good too. I don't know why some of y'all saying that Kawhi better than him. There are always these people out there. So let me just say this. Kawhi Leonard, when he was with the Toronto Raptors, because I think the reason they got him was to perform and get these guys to the NBA Finals. So let me just tell you his numbers in the finals, right? In the playoffs last year. He averaged 30.5 points a game. He shot 50% from the field, 49%, 50% from the field. He shot 38% all throughout the playoffs, 38% from the three-point line, 88% from the free throw line. Got you 9.1 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1.7 steals, and almost a block a game. He led the playoffs in points, rebounds, and steals, and had the third highest playoff production as far as points, right behind Michael Jordan and LeBron James. That was Kawhi Leonard, and was able to get them over the hump and get them through the Greek Freak when the Greek Freak and the Milwaukee Bucks went up 2 games on them. So that was Kawhi Leonard, and I think no one worth their salt would argue that Kawhi Leonard is a much better player than DeMar DeRozan, and the Raptors were better off for having him rather than keeping DeMar DeRozan. Now, that's what happened. Now, I always wondered, though, why that team could never get over the hump. And guys, I finally found out why, listening to DeMar DeRozan on the podcast with what's the guy's name? JJ Redick, right? Who's a great NBA shooter. And in the podcast, DeMar DeRozan explains to his audience why they were never able to make it to the NBA Finals. So before I go on to talk too long, let me just let you guys listen to the audio of him explaining why this team was never able to get over the hump. Just take a listen to this audio.
But it's incredibly difficult to beat a LeBron team 4 times in a series.
Yeah.
And you know, you guys in 16 lose to them in the Eastern Conference Finals. In the next 2 years, you guys, when you were in Toronto, lost to them in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And he, for whatever reason, and I want to get your insight on this, for whatever reason, he's just unbeatable in the playoffs. He's so tough to beat. And it takes just a certain level of intellect to even get to his level.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, I remember for years I always caught so much flack, you know, us being the better team or whatever we was at one point in the Eastern Conference Finals, and people not realizing, like, it's tough to get past this motherfucker. I don't care who you are, you know what I mean? And see him come to the West and be able to do the same thing, it's a testament to his greatness and, you know, his IQ to the game when he go out there and play. You know, I remember you said 16 when we went to the Eastern Conference Finals. We won game 3 and 4, and it was like a whole nother mindset click for him in those next 2 games where it was like, yo, it's closeout. Like, and I remember, I don't know if I even told nobody other than my close circle. I remember it was a play we was trying to run, and one of our teammates forgot the play, and Bron told him the play. Like, it was some crazy shit. It was some crazy stuff. We called it a play. He was like, what? And Bron told him what our play was. You know, and it just shows you, like, how locked in this dude be when it comes to winning time, man. And you see it when he out there on both ends, man. On both ends. And that's just a testament to who he is, why he been to 10 finals, why he's on the verge of getting his, you know, 4th ring. Everything, man. It's crazy.
The playoffs lend itself to a player of LeBron's intelligence because he finally has, not that he doesn't know this stuff during the regular, but in the playoffs, you have time to prepare. You have time to really break down film. You have time to really break down a scouting report. You have time to memorize all these plays. And for someone like him, I mean, look, he's probably got most of the stuff memorized in game 1 and 2, but by game 3, he's so dialed in. He knows everything you're doing on both sides of the ball.
Everything, both sides, every player, weakness, strength, plays, you know, and it's hard to find people like that these days that really live, sleep, breathe the game of basketball.
Do you ever think about a what if? Like, what if LeBron was not in the East when I was on those great Raptors teams? Like, you might have a couple championships.
For sure. I mean, listen, we always said that, and it was crazy to even think about it, because going into the playoffs, our whole mindset was we just gotta get past one guy, you know, and we're gonna get to where we gotta go. We're gonna make it to the finals. You know, we worry about whoever we play when we get to the finals, but it was always trying to get past one guy, you know, and that was the toughest test to be able to get past. And, you know,
now in that audio, you clearly admit, you clearly hear DeMar DeRozan saying why he believes the team could never make it over the hump, right? Because LeBron was so great. Now, did he lie when he said LeBron James was great? Absolutely not. You didn't lie, man. You didn't tell a lie. LeBron James is an amazing basketball player. You didn't tell a lie. However, here's my problem with DeMar DeRozan's statement. Number one, he was admitting that he wasn't good enough to beat LeBron and get the team over the hump. You just can't say that. You just cannot say that. Not at that level. You cannot call yourself a competitor and have that type of mindset that this guy is better than me. Case in point, Jimmy Butler. Obviously, we know LeBron James is a much better player than Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler doesn't know that. And because Jimmy Butler doesn't know that, or rather refuses to believe that, that allows him to go out there and have a game 3 like he did with a 40-point triple-double and willing his team to win in that series where no one has them picked. That is the difference when your team leader, your best player, believes that he's the best player on the court. Whether it's true or not, that's irrelevant. But if he believes that, it would allow him to do things that probably he shouldn't be doing. Number one, he admitted basically that we cannot beat this guy, which in other words means I'm not good enough to get this team over the hump to beat this guy. So why are you even there? Why are you even there? If you don't believe you can beat the guy, why are you even there? What's the purpose of us having you here? You don't even believe you're good enough to do it. And because you don't believe that, how are you going to instill confidence in your teammates when you yourself, you're not even confident enough? That's the problem with DeMar DeRozan's comments, number one. Number two, Kobe was never afraid of LeBron. Y'all can go back and look at the tape. Kobe, I think one time they even asked him, like, who would win between you and LeBron James in a one-on-one match? He wouldn't even let the guy finish. He was like, I would. Kobe was never afraid, and LeBron knows that. Kobe was never afraid of LeBron. When LeBron was playing against the Dallas Mavericks in the finals, did Dirk look afraid of LeBron? When he was crewed up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh? Was he afraid? Did he look afraid of LeBron? Hell no. Was Durant afraid of LeBron? Afraid. We're talking about afraid. You saw what he did in those 2 NBA Finals games when he hit those threes right in his face. And he just stared him down and just knocked that 3 right down and trash talked him and all of that stuff right in his face. Was Durant afraid? Does Kawhi look like he's afraid of LeBron? Did you see the tape of when the San Antonio Spurs were playing against the Miami Heat and Kawhi Leonard was about to check in the game and LeBron looked over to the scores table and saw him come in and was like, oh my God, this guy again? This was Kawhi afraid of LeBron? It's no disrespect to LeBron. We're talking about what's going on in DeMar DeRozan's mind as the leader of that team. And for me, that's inexcusable. You can't have that mindset and expect to go out there and win. And now it shows me why the Toronto Raptors were never really good enough to beat this guy. Because when you have your best player with those type of thoughts in his mind, no wonder you couldn't win. When this guy's thinking like that, no wonder you couldn't win. So for me, I absolutely think the Toronto Raptors were better off without him. It's called addition by subtraction. You don't have him, but you're better off without him. It's like being in a toxic relationship. You get out of it, you're single. Yeah, you have nobody to talk to, but at least you have nobody to go upside your head or piss you off or just make you angry all the time. And that's what I think about that. Now, sorry, I seem a little bit brazen in this video, but I'm just like stunned by this. That somebody can come out and say, oh, well, you know what, man, we're just going to get over it. And then publicly admitting it. I can sit to say, man, why would you even admit that publicly? When this was a direct competitor of yours, you just don't say that. You just don't say that. And for me, I think Masai Ujiri made the absolute right decision of getting him out of there. And it shows that these guys, Kyle Lowry and these guys were really being emotional. They were being sentimental about it instead of thinking about it and say, listen, we just traded for a much better player. Now we got to win, right? But you're being sentimental about it and say, oh, man, but this is my best friend. Come on. I thought you wanted to win. You've been with this guy for 7 years. You had no results or whatever it is. How many years? And now it should be about you winning. And for me, hearing DeMar DeRozan say that to me is just mind-boggling. So, before I go too far on about this, what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that this is acceptable for DeMar DeRozan to come out and say this as a team leader? Do you think it's acceptable for him to say that? And do you think it's acceptable for him to have that going through his mind all those years as the leader of the Toronto Raptors? That's what I want to know from you guys. So whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content, and also check out some of our other videos that we have on the channel. I'm sure some of you guys are going to enjoy it, so we're going to link a video at the end of this video here. We asked the question of whether or not Kawhi Leonard should have left Toronto, so you guys can go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Once again, this is Charleston from Dreamers Pro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.